Hi Virgo, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your April 2021 full moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. All right. Let's let the bulls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Virgo be affected by the April 2021 full moon? How will Virgo be affected by the April 2021 full moon? How will Virgo be affected by the April 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. And show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Ooh. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. All right. Now the left-hand side here is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. And we're going to see what the moon has to say, but first we're going to see what the tarot is saying here so we can see how everything pulls together. We start off with the Four of Pentacles. Then we have the Knight of Cups. So this moon for us, this moon is a full moon. It's a super moon. It's in Scorpio. Scorpio is represented by the cups in the minor arcana, by the death card in the major arcana. So this is going to be a bit of a warrior time for us. We have and give us warrior energy. We have the High Priestess, seeing beyond the veil, seeing beyond what people want us to see. We have the Page of Wands. This is fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This connects us with the full moon in Sagittarius on the 26th of May. We then have the Lovers, which is Gemini energy, time frame May 21st to June 20th. We have the Five of Swords, the Nine of Cups, the Knight of Wands, which I love that progression from page to knight, so from student to defender. This can also be a young fire sign energy, okay, with the page. This could be a child that's very much taking up a lot of our time and attention in our inner selves, and we're seeing something, or something is being revealed about them to us. So that could be a very specific message for a very specific person. We have the Eight of Pentacles, hard work paying off. We have the King of Swords, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. We have the Ten of Cups, which is prosperity and success and bounty, and they all live happily ever after. And then we have, of course, to finish off this row that is rooting us, we have the King of Wands. So this is an evolution that is going to lead us to the full moon on the 26th of May. So we're going to be a student in our inner selves, a lot of learning, a lot of understanding, a lot of deeper deeper guidance, deeper truth, deeper meaning to passion, okay, to the erotic beauty of life. And that's not just sexual, that's going to be expressive and just the beauty and the sensuality and the brilliance of existence. It leads us to the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is the defender, and the King of Wands is the ruler. So in our inner selves, in our hearts, we're defending our passion, what we desire. We're seeing different ways that we can move forward. But in our hearts, but in our public arena, okay, we're nailing it. We are killing it. So that is going to be really quite beautiful. So let's see what the moon has to say for herself. And then we're going to see again what the moon has to say for herself at the very end. So let's see here. And what's beautiful about this moon, Virgo, is that it is called the pink moon because the Native Americans named it for the flowers that bloom during this time. So it's just such a beautiful, rejuvenating, powerful time for us, and just glorious moon that comes forward. This one. All right. Okay. So we have balance, change, realization, abundance, action, and resistance. Okay, so we're going to be resistant to the realization that we do hold the key. There's going to be something about this time that makes us think, oh no, I don't have enough answers. I don't really understand it all. There's something about the accumulation of things towards May 26th, towards the next full moon. Now, the next full moon is a supermoon also, and it is also an eclipse. So it is going to be, just super powerful. It's going to come with a couple of punches and a bit of intensity. Now, both of these, of course, are super moons. The previous full moon, which was in Libra, okay, was almost a super moon. It wasn't quite there yet, so that energy was intense, it was powerful, it was brilliant, and now that brilliance is just crescendoing. It's really reaching its peak and will keep on a high note for quite some time. So the balance that we're needing to see here is the balance that we need to see within ourselves, this progression of death, rebirth, and regeneration that comes from the full moon being in Scorpio. Scorpio is, of course, ruled by Pluto, and its theme in life is evolution, metamorphosis, death, rebirth, regeneration, redefining of self. And there is a sense here of issues being brought up around control and trust and power. So we're seeing ourselves kind of step into balance where there once wasn't any, where we once thought this lunar cycle, which brings us into the connection with the divine, okay, we thought it wouldn't be what we expected, or it's just going to be another time, and I'm being curious or I'm being hopeful for nothing. No, there really is brilliance here. There really is beauty here. And it's the ability to hold on to it. It's the ability to embrace it. It's the ability to see it during this time that's going to be so important. And we have to be mindful because we do have the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles for me is vampiric energy. It is the energy that drains us. It's the energy that overwhelms us. It's the energy that says you can't. You can't have the life that you want because of doubts and fears, or because we're so afraid of losing because we have lost so much already. And so the balance starts to come in. It's like the ebb, the flow, the progression, the understanding of life and of brilliance and of self and of discovery that the moon, and that also just simply the fact that all things change and all things must change. So our world is obsessed. It's obsessed with youth. It's obsessed with money. It's obsessed with all these things. And yet wisdom is not something we're obsessed with. It, like, greater knowledge is not something that people say, oh, did you seek out that truth? Or did you try that, that way to awaken our spirit? And so here we're going to see this shift in us. And this ability to look at the times where we are full, like the full moon, radiant in our beauty, the times where we are more introspective, like the new moon, and it brings us to change. And it's going to show us, excuse me, that the change is not that I can fight everything, not that I can win every battle, not that, everything is going to go my way. The change is that I'm stopping to fight. I'm stopping fighting, and I'm stepping back, and I'm saying, you know what? Maybe that's not my battle anymore. Maybe that's not where I need to give my energy to. And I'm going to see myself changing because I am changing what I am focusing on. And that becomes very freeing. And then there's the realization that I can walk through the portal. I can walk through to the new world, to the new understanding, to the new sense of power, to the new brilliance, to the new beauty that is me. And that I hold more knowledge and more than I give myself credit for. And just also realizing that it's not going to be anybody else. I remember so much just wanting to be rescued when things were really hard. And even now, even when things are hard, it's like, wow, it would be so nice if somebody could just sweep in and do all the hard work. They can't. They just can't. Nobody's going to come in and save us. And that's a hard pill to swallow, especially if you're like me and you love Disney stories. You know, there's going to be no Prince Charming. And so here, it's that sense of realization that if I own what is mine, if I own that energy, if I own that power, if I own me, all of a sudden that starts to unlock so much. And there is that shift because it brings us to a place of abundance. It brings us to a place where we look at ourselves not as somebody who's supposed to be perfect, because that is completely unobtainable, but as somebody who has a lot more going for them than they realized before. Somebody who can open up the door, somebody who can embrace the realization, somebody who looks at things deeply and differently. And it brings us to this, this sense of jubilation, this sense of action, and it's over the Knight of Wands. It's like, I'm going after what I need to go after. I'm, celebrating what I need to celebrate. It's no longer time for me to, sit in endless battle. All right, it's time for me to start enjoying my life, to embrace play, to laugh, to be, to live. And that doesn't mean that our struggles go away, but that means that all the beauty of life hasn't been sucked out of it, and that I get to express myself powerfully. And it brings us then to resistance, the resistance to being crushed down, the resistance to being held back. And it brings us to a power of our voice, but also what we desire, where it is that we want to be. Now, of course, this full moon, again, is in Scorpio. So it's all about death, rebirth, resurrection, change, reconfiguration of self. And so here, when we have the surrender to the divine, we have that being our power. And again, this is a time of inner growth. This is a time where we start to look at things more openly, more honestly for ourselves. This is a time of realizing and getting to the point where we can release what challenges us, and what is keeping us from overcoming our limitations. There is a sense here with this moon of clarity and also of the spotlight, because the clarity comes because the spotlight is put on what we are most afraid of, what is most overwhelming for us. Now, this full moon in Scorpio says it's time to release the negativity, and it is. It's time to release the negativity, but it's a bit intense and a bit overwhelming because this full moon is squared Saturn in Aquarius with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus conjunct Uranus. So what this means is that Saturn controls our self-responsibility. All right, our sense of this is what I have to do, this is what needs to be done. I'm going to take charge of the situation. I'm going to kind of, go after and get done what I need to do to get to where it is that I want to be. So Saturn calls us to show up and kind of shut up. And this is going to be a time where, especially if we were raised with, you have to hold your burdens by yourself. You have to keep on carrying on. You don't have anybody to rely on, so it's going to have to be you. That is going to be an intense place to be. So we have to be mindful of that. And if we were raised in the way where, like, one of our caregivers was very nurturing and very loving, and the other caregiver was like, buck up, we're going to have that war with ourselves. Because again, Saturn is in Aquarius, and Aquarius brings self-contemplation and this sense of eccentricity. Like, I get to be me, quirky as can be, and I get to be proud of who I am. So when we see it's time to release the negativity, it's time to release the negativity of both of these areas, of, maybe being too into the self or being too hard on the self. And we're going to start to see this balance come forward. Now, with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus conjunct Uranus heightens the disruptions within our world, right? So everything is about emotions running high, things being heightened already, and then we have attraction. So when Uranus comes in and it says, okay, I'm blowing all this up, I'm putting, again, the spotlight on things, it puts the spotlight on the Sun, which is in Taurus, which is this beautiful grounding energy, okay, but it can also be, thick-headedness and stubbornness and really, only seeing things one way. And also, it is the beautiful sensuality, which is what we usually forget when we think of Taurians. We think of they can get the job done, they're stubborn, they're loyal, but they're also astoundingly sensitive and sensual. And if we forget that sensitivity, if we forget that sensuality of being, that eroticism of life, we're going to miss out on so much that is offered during this time. And with Mercury rules our communication. So during this time, we're going to see, heightened disruptions in our communication where it needs to be. So our communication can kind of go awry because Uranus is saying, you're not doing this right. You're not doing this right. Look at it deeper. Look at it deeper. I'm going to start, shaking things up for you. Same thing in the roles of love with Venus. Venus is love and romance, but it's also our private emotional state and emotional self. So again, the disruptance is going to come up and it's going to start shaking things. It's going to be like, can I do this? Can I move forward this way? Do I know what I want? Am I questioning my partner? Am I questioning myself? Am I questioning what my happiness is? Why? And why do I feel like I can't share this with anyone? It has to be a burden I carry all within myself. And that's going to be because, again, of Mercury being conjunct, being conjunct Uranus. So this is going to be a time where we will feel like we have to do everything by ourselves. Saturn will amplify that because, it's kind of like, do it on your own. Don't be, don't be weak. And yet Aquarius is going to say, no, look at what the self needs. Look at what the heart needs. And don't mind if you think you're coming across eccentric or you think you're coming across, in a different way to people. It's time to embrace the way our hearts need to move forward. Now, on the 11th of May, this is the new moon. So the new moon brings beginnings, and the new moon says a new start is coming. So with this new start coming, we have the new moon in Taurus. And of course, again, the sun is in Taurus. So this is amplified. Everything during this time is just a bit amplified. And so here it says prosperity lies ahead. There is power, there is prosperity, there is brilliance, there is determination that lies forward. And this is going to be something that we're really looking at and looking for during this time. How can I make my dreams into a reality? How can I be on stable ground? How can I set it up so that I can be okay and things can be safe and there's security to existence and the ability to dream, the ability to play. Play only happens when we feel safe. So if we're thinking to myself, wow, it's been so long since I laughed. Well, it's been so long since I felt safe. Safe enough to get my sense of humor back. Safe enough to be able to let go and really embrace joy. This is a time where to have prosperity, we have to line up our life for joy, for success, for time for ourselves, to let the beauty shine through. And then it brings us to the full moon in Sagittarius. And the full moon in Sagittarius, okay, again, astoundingly powerful because it's heightening our emotions. The attractions are coming. What we are sending out into the universe, okay, is going to come back to us with more intensity. And it says, look at the full picture. Look at what it is that we desire. Look at what it is that we want. Look at the way that we want to move forward. Look at how we're taking aim and why we're taking aim and where is there that we want to be. So look at the bigger picture, but also focus on the goals. Now there is this archer, I think his name is Lance, and or Lance, I can't remember. And he has set the way we thought of archery, medieval archery, any sort of archery on its ears, because he looked at the way that historians look at things, all right? And he said, well, that's good. Everybody gets up in a line and takes out, their arrows from the quiver and shoots, right? And loads it and shoots, and that's it. But that's not what it's described like in ancient texts. It's more of a fluid dance, powerful thing. And so he broke the mold. He broke the mold because he looked at things. He practiced an insane amount. And he said, look what you can do. Look at how the bow and the man can almost be one. Look at how you don't have to stop and take aim. So when we're looking at the bigger picture, what I'm really seeing here is not stopping, taking aim, and going after what we want. It's looking at everything that's around us and being able to respond within the moment, and also being able to focus on what really needs to be focused on, the threats and the joys and the beauties that come. And then with the full moon eclipse, it says conclusions are within reach. We just need the quiet moments. The light doesn't always get to shine so bright. We need to have the introspection to carry it forward, because emotions run high, and in the silence we can either feel completely or hide absolutely, and that is going to be a choice that we get to make during this time. And it leads us then to our spirit animals, and our spirit animals are the hawk spirit and the wolf spirit for April. And the wolf spirit says, of course, turn knowledge into wisdom, which is what, life is all about. That's what maturing is about. It's taking the knowledge that we accumulate within life and turning it into the wisdom for which we live by. And that is an extraordinary thing. It really, really is. That is something that is so powerful and so beautiful. So when we have this wolf spirit time, this is sharpening our intellect, but it's also letting us feel our place within the pack of humanity, okay, within our own packs, our own tribes, our own communities, our own, clans, however we say it. But it's also letting us know, did I always honor the lone wolf? Did I think, just like the Saturn is going to bring out during this time, did I think that I had to do it all by myself? And what has that done to me? Because we know that in nature, the lone wolf is the stressed out wolf. The lone wolf is the wolf that doesn't get to share its song, doesn't get to, share its beauty. So even though in our world, we tend to think, go it alone, it's all about the individual. How do we connect? And how is that building us? How is that letting us grow? Okay, and what is it that we desire? And also, we could say, okay, I don't have a pack, I don't have a wolf pack. That's okay. That is totally fine. But do we have a connection with divinity? Do we have a connection with spirit? Have we lost our way, and are we finding it back again? This is a time of seeking freedom, but also of strong instincts and deep connections to our world and to ourselves. So this is a time of really laying down that foundation. And then April says, let spirit be your guide. Well, let spirit be your guide because it can see more clearly and fly higher. You can fly higher than we ever can. But also the spirit, the hawk spirit, is a symbolic message of the spirit world, the messenger of the spirit world. So when we see a hawk, it is a message from the spirit world. Do we know what it's trying to say right away? No. Will we have to uncover it, discover it? Absolutely. This is a sense of power and focus and clarity of vision and increased spiritual awakening. It leads us then to the spirit animals of May. And the spirit animals of May are the beaver and the elk. Now, I don't have an elk in this deck, so standing in for the elk is the horned animal of the antelope. So here with the beaver, it says lay a solid foundation. Yes, the beaver spirit tells us lay a solid foundation. Make sure our feet are firmly planted on the ground, which is what we're going to see with the Taurian energy of the sun time for us. So this moon of Scorpio comes during the time of Taurus. So there's going to be a more practical element to things. They're not really going to war very, very much. I don't see that at all. But there's going to be this practical element to the rebirth, regeneration, re-empowerment that is going on. And as this comes forward, there is a sense with the beaver spirit of taking time to trust our creativity, taking time to trust, again, that beauty can be a part of our lives. And this is a time to look at what we accomplish through cooperation. It's not about being the lone person anymore. It's about the connectivity. And as this connects us, we start seeing that the beaver spirit motivates us to jumpstart things. It motivates us to really get moving. Now, the elk spirit, and standing in for the elk spirit, says, life is speeding up. So let us speed up. Let us go after what is desired. And we can see that with the nights here. We have the second fastest moving night, and we have the second slowest moving night. So a part of us in our inner selves, we want to be slow and steady and a little bit more romantic about it, but also very emotionally aware. Our hearts are like, this is my passion, this is my desire, this is what I'm going for. So the mind is like, slow down. The heart is like, speed up. They can feel like they're warring with each other at times, which can be a beautiful dance that goes on, personally, but it can also be very frustrating. So the elk spirit tells us that we are entering into a time of plenty, and that everything you need, you'll get. Now, it's an interesting thing to be told everything you need, you'll get, because it's not everything you want. It's everything you need. It's everything that is needed will start to come to you. But it's not everything that is wanted, and we might not see it as a gift, and we might not think that it is okay, but it is going to be a beautiful form of really sorting things out. What is coming to me? Why is it coming to me? Asking ourselves these questions, maybe even journaling it out, or writing a letter to a friend, sitting in quiet and just taking that time to say, to write to a friend with a pen and paper and to discover, and then maybe even start pen paling, send those messages back and forth. Now, of course, I got so excited, I just dived right into everything. Let's see what the chakra energy is for this time, where we have to be a little bit mindful of our sensitivities. Okay. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. All right. And this is right here, abundance. Abundance coming in. We had abundance stated by the moon earlier, right? So the abundance is coming in again, the root chakra, the sense of our rooted self is supposed to be a self of abundance. That does not mean we're all supposed to live in castles and be so rich we don't know what to do with it. What it means is that there's an abundance to the essence and to the gravitas of the self. And as we embrace this, we start to embrace who we are and what we want. We start to also look at things differently. We look at things now not through the eyes of I can't, but maybe through the eyes of I can. And maybe through the eyes of there is more to this world than I had originally thought. And it brings us then to the energy we are to be mindful of during this time. And we might be very sensitive around abundance because we're always going to be pushing ourselves just that one step out of reach, that little bit further, which is human nature. We reach our goals, we've set new goals, we're always pushing it out. And that's beautiful. But it also needs to be practical. We can't be working ourselves, into the ground. So let's see here. Again, what is the energy that Virgo needs to be mindful of for the April 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. It's the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is that fire sign energy, which is rooting us right here. So we need to be mindful of not letting fire, passion, reactionary, okay, the intensity get the better of us. So the fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, this is a sense of looking at what burns bright and maybe not always going towards the flame, not being like the moth going towards the flame, looking at what is desired, looking at what is needed, and also, being very mindful of people who try to manipulate us using our passion, using our better nature, using what we're driven towards. Because we start this whole reading with the most negative card that we have, and that's the Four Pentacles. Now, we can't argue that we have the Five of Swords, but that's a win. The Four Pentacles is leeching vampiric energy. The Four Pentacles is I have to hold on because I'm so used to losing it all. The Four Pentacles is, things being overwhelming and feeling like lack is just around the river bend. And so here, there is this sense of I need to see my prosperity. I need to see what I desire. I need to look at what I want. But also I need to understand the fears of poverty that are about me. Now, this can be that we grew up in a house where money was yelled about all the time. It can also be that we had a relationship where we let the person in. We trusted them completely. We were like, you know what? I got you. Don't worry about it. And they robbed us blind. All right? Or they, robbed us blind is what Spirit is saying. So here, there is this sense of how do I let myself embrace abundance instead of saying, I have it right here, it's going to be right here. I'm too afraid to want more. And I'm too afraid that there is less, just waiting for me, just waiting to take me. And that's when we have this moon making us brave. Because this moon, oh my goodness, okay, there we go. This moon brings us to the Knight of Cups. This is a sense of prosperity. This is a sense of abundance. This is a sense of moving towards what is desired and what is wanted and what the heart longs for. And during this time, we will start to look at things in a very different light. We will start to see things, and instead of saying, well, I can't, it's like, well, why can't I try? Why can't I move forward that way? Emotionally, heart-wise, instead of guarding our heart, thinking it's going to be broken again. Everything, has to be so logical. Everything has to be counted down to the penny. I can't set roots because the roots will be pulled up. So I have to keep everything right to me. It's like, I can guard my heart. I know what I emotionally desire. I can move towards my goals, towards my wants, towards my dreams, towards my ambitions. I can open up the door. And it brings us to the High Priestess. It brings us to the waters of the night, flowing underneath and behind, okay? The High Priestess. It brings us to a place where we start to see, not what everybody else sees, not what the rest of the world is worried about. We can actually really start to pity the world in a very real way. Start to say, wow, what's so important to what everybody seems to be, making as the most important thing is the least important thing. Why aren't we connecting? Why don't we gain the understanding? Why are we lying all the time to ourselves, to others? Why can't we state what we desire, what we want, what we fear, what we long for without being mocked and ridiculed? There is a sense here of opening ourselves up, maybe not to the rest of the world. Actually, I would highly suggest not to the rest of the world because people take pot shots, but to ourselves and saying, what is it that my heart desires? I'm seeing things more clearly. I'm seeing things more logically. I'm seeing things more powerfully than I had ever seen them before. Where does this beauty lie for me? What does this move me towards? What is my heart longing for? Where do I want to be? Where do I need to be? And it leads us to being a student of our passion, a student of our desires. It leads us to seeing things. Like, part of us are going to be like, part of the time, we're going to think, I have the answers. And the other part of the time, we're going to think, I don't even know the question. So there's this trickiness during this time that is intense, but there is this beauty here that starts to come forward. We start to see things in honesty. We start to look at the passion that leads us forward, the ambition that we have, the desire that we want. We start to look at people and things, and we can find ourselves being inspired in the oddest of way, in the way the light shines through leaves, in the way that the birds sing, or in the way that somebody is talking on YouTube or wherever on any sort of social media platform, and the questions that they're asking, and the answers that they are getting, and the depth that they're going into. It's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And this can also happen in any form of art. It can happen in visual art. It can happen through books, through movies. It does not matter. And there is this sense of, I never looked at it that way before. I never saw it like that. I didn't think you could. And that starts to open our hearts to love. Now, the Lovers also opens us to having to understand the Taoist statement that this and that is true. There are more than one ways of looking at things. There are multiple ways forward. There are different avenues of thought, and there are different conclusions to be had. And it depends on our cultures. It depends on our religions. It depends on, our own personal proclivity, and also the homes that we were raised in, how we start to see things and how we see ourselves. There is a sense of passion that evolves us, that moves with us, that opens us up. There is a sense of blessing here, and there is a sense of love coming in. Now, we can have this expectation of romantic love. No, not expectation. That's the wrong word. We can have this beauty of romantic love coming forward. And if it is romantic love, not thinking it has to happen now, but thinking in our hearts, you know what, I'd be really happy if I met somebody, or just putting that out into the world. I'm opened to somebody coming into my life. And then there's a sense of falling in love with ourselves, with what we desire, with who we are, with the complexity and duality of life. Not everybody has to think like me, not everybody has to be like me, and I can respect that in each and every person. And the beauty of the stories that are being told, the beauty of the loves that are being formed, and the relationships that are coming forward. And also the beauty through pain and sorrow and doubt and fear. Love is all-encompassing. Love encompasses everything. And it's also what we are so desperately afraid of, and yet so longingly want. And it's crowning our hearts. So love is all around us during this time. if we open ourselves up to it. It leads us then to the Five of Swords. So opening ourselves up to love leads us to the Five of Swords, to the sense of, somebody trying to best us. Like, I got you. I got you. I won this. You're a fool. I got the upper hand. And there's also a sense of having to engage in battle and being a little self-satisfied that this time things went differently. This time I stood up for myself. This time I walked away without feeling guilty or overwhelmed or as if I was the monster here. This time I learned a lesson, because the Five of Swords is a lesson that we're not learning, a lesson that isn't being seen fully. And so the Five of Swords has us looking at things more openly, more honestly for ourselves, saying, why am I going through this again? What is this? What do I desire? What do I need? What do I want? What am I longing for? Why do I keep on having this lesson come into my face time and time again from different people, from different places? What is it that I'm tripped up on? And it leads us then to the Nine of Cups. It leads us to a wish being granted. And I love how the High Priestess, this sense of looking beyond the veil, all right, and looking past the veil that hides us, but also having the sense of spirituality throughout the ages. You have the moon and its phases crowning her. You have the pomegranates, which are a nod to Persephone in Greek mythology. You have the cross over her heart. You have the Torah in her hands. You have the crescent moon. You have the waters. You have the pillars. So you have everything that makes up ancient worships. You have the pillars, which are the temples in ancient Egypt, in ancient Greece, ancient Rome. You have this sense of antiquity here, and you have this knowledge that is timeless coming forward within us, and it brings us to this place of satisfaction. Okay, it's not so much of satisfaction; it's this sense of I'm okay where I am. I can even say that I am content, but I don't see that I am necessarily blessed. When people look at us, though, they see that we are blessed. They see a beauty coming in. They see a power moving us forward. They see an embrace of the heart and an embodiment of the soul. They see hard work paying off. We might see that I have miles to go before I can even think of sleeping. And others look at us like we are crazy, thinking, how much more could you actually want? And why aren't you utilizing these gifts? And it's starting to see the gifts that we have within us. It's our wishes. It's our desires. It's our hopes. It's our dreams leading us forward. And it makes us into knights. It makes us into defenders. It makes us into people who will fight for what we are passionate about. It makes us, charge forward. And it's charging into the student mentality, the childlike sense of wonder and innocence and, and looking. Now, we might never get that innocence back that you get in childhood. If you're lucky, you have that in childhood. But what we have here is this sense of I'm fighting for what I need, what I desire, and what I long for. I'm letting my passion be a part of my life. And if you see here, the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail, isn't complete. We are not constantly consuming ourselves in the state of knighthood to be able to be more. We are in the state of kinghood. We are always consuming ourselves, rebirthing, moving forward, growing, understanding, having the lions around us, having that sense of pride and understanding, but also that sense of protection and fierceness and ferocity. But as the knight, as we follow our hearts and as we let our passions shine, we are going to see that we are open to changes, that we don't think anything is set in stone, that we might find out that we're accumulating more questions than we ever had answers. And it leads us to, in the public arena, it really leads us to working hard, because it's like, holy guacamole, like I have so much more here than I thought. And it brings us to the sense of hard work, dedication, diligence. It can also be that we're tempted to work so hard that we take the beauty out of things, or work so hard that we burn ourselves out. And there's no spark, there's no beauty, there's no passion, there's no power left to be embraced. But this is a time where we start to see the beauty within us. We start to see the hard work and the endless repetition actually meaning something. So we might have had jobs in the past, or things that we have done where it's like it's on endless repetition. It's like, why am I put in this situation? Why is this task coming to me time and time again? Later down the road, we can find that that task, that one skill that was honed by divinity, not by us, in situations where we thought, this is stupid, I don't like this, is the most useful thing we have ever developed, or it brings us an insight that others will not have. There is a sense here of also being seen as somebody who works hard, who is dedicated, who pours their soul into what they are creating. There is a difference between something that is created machine-wise or by somebody who knows how to go through the motions, and something that is created with soul and compassion and spirit and just serenity. Or not even serenity, but skill. You might be putting a range of emotions into it, but there is an aliveness to that work. And it doesn't matter if that work is as a, scientist, or as an artist, as a performer, or as a server. It does not matter. You can see it, and more importantly, you can feel it within the vibrational energy of those people. And it moves us to the King of Swords. The King of Swords is this air sign energy, is this energy of knowledge and insight, but also this energy that can be a little bit fierce and standoffish. So the King of Swords might not seem like the warm, fuzzy person that we want to have a conversation with. No, they don't do surface talk. They just don't. They're not into it. They want the heart of the matter. They want the bones of it. They want to see it. They want to understand it. They want to, embrace it. And so here, there's this ferocity of mind and understanding and knowledge and wisdom and deeper sense of who I am and who I want to be and where I'm headed and what I desire. And there's this sense, again, of the theme of the Scorpio full moon, which is death, rebirth, and regeneration, with the butterfly, with the crescent moons on either side. It's like we are constantly going to be changing because our mind is constantly taking in new information, being more inspired, diving deeper, going after. And so here, there is a sense of the world opening, and there's a sense of our eyes opening. And as we open to what we desire, we open more to ourselves. And because we're opening more to ourselves, we can be a bit fiercer. It's like, I can speak with confidence. I might not be confident with everything that I am saying, but I can, or know that this is absolute truth. But in this moment, as I see it, this is the truth, or as a spirit gives it, this is the truth right now. And that's going to be how we move forward. It's like, this is what needs to be done now. There's a sickness to it, there's a understanding to it, there's a beauty to it. And there is a sense with the King of Swords, it's like there's a clarity to things. This is how it has to be right now. We're not going to want to, debate things up and down the Mississippi. We're not going to want to, to let time be wasted. It's all important. The way we move forward, the insights that we have. There's something greater that we are working towards, but it's also taking the power of our voice, taking the power of ourselves, gaining an understanding, looking at things with honesty and integrity and desire for where we want to be. And it's knowing that the King of Swords is a master of his craft. The King of Swords is a master at wielding a weapon, of cutting to the heart of the issue, to moving past the superficial and getting into the powerful. And it moves us to the Ten of Cups. It moves us to seeing what we love, what we desire, what we need, what we want, our happily ever after, and what that means for us. Because my happiness will not be your happiness. My way of thinking, wow, that was an absolutely enjoyable day or evening, might not be your way of thinking that was a great evening or day. So here, there is this sense of the individual coming forward. There is a sense of being able to celebrate what we greatly appreciate, what we greatly enjoy, what is right for us. This bit of beauty, but also knowing why we're here, what we're working towards, what we desire. We might get glimpses of this. It's kind of like getting glimpses of the stars in the sky on a cloudy night. You see that there is beauty behind the clouds, and there is beauty behind the clouds of our world. And so as we're moving forward, we see that. And there's just this power to us in the public arena during this time. It has to do with our mind. It has to do with our passion. And air feeds fire, right? So during this time, If we let our mind feed our passion, we are unstoppable. Now, if we are contained, right, and we're not letting ourselves explore, the fire can burn, but if you light a match and you put it in an air-sealed container, right, and you let it burn, it'll take all the air out and it'll just go out. So we have to be very mindful not to put ourselves in boxes, not to, suck all the air, all the fuel out of the situation, because we are passionate. We are moving towards transformation. We're looking at things differently. We're not afraid to roll up our sleeves, to get our hands dirty, to go after what we want. Our skills have been honed. We know our mind. And this says to us, if we want our happiness, we have to seize it. We have to embrace the power and the brilliance and the electricity, the passion, the ecstasy that is us. And we have to let it shine, letting our strength come forward, letting our beauty be a part of who we are. And it moves us. And this is going to be a time where we're moved in that masculine energy. Okay, we're moving in it. We're seeing things. We're developing things. We want to go after what we need to go after. We're looking at things much more finitely, much more minusculely. We have to be very mindful during this time, because we do have the knights and we do have the kings. That this masculine energy of looking at things very succinctly and one by one and looking only at the bullseye does not take away from the power of the High Priestess, which outranks all of these. And it is the sense of looking at the bigger picture, seeing not only the goal, but also everything in between. And that can be overwhelming, and it can seem like, how can I do this? But there is a way, and we will see that way. We just will. So let's see here again what Luna has to say for us during this time. And there's a power in love here. So if we are starting to question, like, whether we'll ever find love, and, what love means to us or for us, or, how it could even work within our lives, this is a time where love is going to be the underlying factor for everything. Ooh. This one right here. Okay. And that one. All right. So we have nothing is yet set in stone. A fiery climax approaches. You and your loved ones are safe. The answers you need are coming. Hold your vision. Adjustments are required. And of course, the card that fell out from all of this is the Scorpio energy, amplifying the Scorpio full moon. All right, and this is the Scorpio new moon coming through. Work through your fears. Do not be held back by your fears, because they're going to want to come in stronger and more powerful than ever and say, no, you can't. This is a time with hell, yes, you can. All right, nothing is yet set in stone. It's not. We're going to think, oh, like, we like to find patterns. We like to find the stories behind things. And we think, oh, well, if my parents didn't have a good relationship, and my grandparents didn't, and my great-grandparents didn't, what makes me so lucky? This happened. This always happens to us. I'm just going to perpetuate it. Nothing is set in stone. All is flux and nothing stays the same. Plato said it. All right. And if he said it, 400 years, when did Plato? Yeah. It was 400 years before Christ. I don't know. I want to say it is. That, don't hold me to that. What we're going to see here is that there is, or in 400 BC, I can't remember. What we're going to see here is that there is power to the unpredictable, and there is power to the changeable. Once we change our vibrational energy, once we realize that there is more out there for us, and that we've been selling ourselves short, once we realize that it's the fear, but also the drain of everything being sucked out of us, that is the time where we realize there's more here. There's more here than meets the eye. And I'm not going to be in that endless cycle of my power being sucked away. It leads us to a fiery climax approaching, a fiery way of moving forward, a tenacity, a beauty, a understanding, a crescendo. And it's of love, but also of conquering and moving past old fears and being able to let blessings come in, wishes around us, saying, what is it that we desire? What is it that we want? What is it that we need? And it moves us to, you and your loved ones are safe. So there's a sense of security. There's a sense of like, I can take care of this and things are taken care of. It moves us to the answers we need are coming. The answers are coming. We're not going to be left in the dark. The veil is lifted from behind our eyes. We see things more clearly. We're asking questions. We're discovering. We're finding it out. We're holding to our vision of what we desire, of what we love, of what we want, of what we need. We're not letting the world take away the joy from our eyes. And yes, adjustments are required because we're looking at our happiness. We're looking at our passion. We're looking at what we want within this world. And we're going to have to adapt. And if we don't adapt, we won't get to where we want to be. But we're going to have to kind of learn to play this game just a little bit better and a little bit more honestly with ourselves. The subconscious Luna message is show the world the real you. Don't hide. Don't think I have to be this way or else nobody will like me, nobody will understand me, nobody will see me. It doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. Let them think as they may. It matters how we see ourselves and how we hold ourselves and letting ourselves shine through. The real us, not the us that we think everybody's anticipating or desires or wants or that's what's expected. It leads us then to gratitude. Gratitude for wisdom, gratitude for the knowledge of our ancestors, okay, of those who came before us, gratitude to the beauty of our world and everything that has been sacrificed. It leads us then to the subconscious chakra message, which is clarity, the third eye chakra. We see things more clearly. We see things more openly. We're starting to ask deeper questions. We're starting to find out more and see more. And as we see more and as we understand more, all of a sudden, things become real. All of a sudden, dreams and desires turn into reality. All of a sudden, we start to see the way that we can move forward, the way that we can go after our goal, what it is that we deeply desire. And it brings us to our subconscious, mindful message, which says, be mindful of the Sagittarius energy. A lot is going to happen during this full moon on the 26th of May. Be mindful of that. Be mindful of how we're connecting with others, of the wisdom that is inspiring us and having us question. Be mindful of everything. Buddha said, question everybody, even me. Do so. Do so all the time. And it leads us then to our subconscious tarot message. And that is the Three of Wands. The world is opening. We're starting to see that there is more to life than just our shores, more to life than just what we had seen before or what we thought to expect. And all of a sudden, there's a sense of adventure. There's a sense of, enlightenment, of beauty, of greater understanding, of tenacity, of power forward. And that is beautiful. All right, Virgo. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the beauty and the power of this super pink moon. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Virgo, and may you have a blessed moon.